in. For those of you who are doing just that, listening to the game on the internet, VarsitySportsNetwork.org, thank you for joining us as we get underway. The 19th of 28 games, the 18th of 28 games, the fourth game being played this afternoon at Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. And the Windermere Wolverines, representing the Metro Conference, break out on top, the 2-0 lead, early, only 30 seconds in. Of course, as we said in the announcement, this event is about putting the best teams together. The Metro Conference showcasing its ability and prowess as a basketball powerhouse. And that's exactly what we got. One of the featured events, one of the featured games of this event, you have Windermere Wolverines, only open for 5 years. They begin their 6th year under Mark Grizik. 21-7 last year, a regional runner-up. That's the round of 8. They belong to Class 7A District 5. In only 2 years, Mark Grizik built the team into a state semifinalist, and they've gone 4 straight years into the playoffs now. Of course, Mark Grizik, this is his 3rd different school he's coached at. Began his head coaching career at P.K. Young, took them to the state finals. He then started the program at Olympia, took them to the state finals, and then he began the program here at Windermere. Hasn't gone to the final, but again, got them to the state semifinals in the 2nd year. At the other end, Windermere Prep, led by Brian Hoff. As we get the turnover, and Windermere an opportunity to get that 2-0 lead to 2 possessions. He's been there for 5 years. They've won a state championship back in 2013, a perennial playoff team and expected to make deep runs as well. They come off a 20-8 season regional semifinals. Give the rebound to number 33, Chandler Watts, number 12 on the Florida rankings. He sweeps through that lane and draws the foul, the first of the game. And Windermere Prep is a member of Class 3A District 6. So not a minute 46 in, 2-0 lead for Windermere, taking advantage of a turnover by Windermere Prep. And speaking of turnovers, one good turnover deserves another. I'm Neil Fisher. Thank you for joining us on this day after Thanksgiving. Of course, we wish all of you a happy holiday, happy and healthy holiday. Hope you enjoyed some time with your family yesterday and some good eatings as we get into this game.
Hey, you got to cut through. You got to run the play. You're enough. Yes, you would.
So Windermere swings it up top to Tavion Jones. And the shot, and score the deuce. 4-0 lead for Windermere. 2.5 minutes in, bringing the ball up now, Aiden Fletcher. The first substitution for Windermere Prep. Swings it out to Bass Jr. 2-man game between Bass Jr. and Fletcher. Ball retrieved by Junior, who drains the rain. It's a 4-3 score now. Top of the key. Stop, pop, and drop for D. Bose, the 6'2" senior guard. At the other end, no dice. Clearing the rebound is Williams. Back out to Watts, number 12 on the Florida listings for recruiting. They can't get it to drop. Windermere just as quickly gets that ball out. Driving the lane, the slash and dash. And while we got a break in the action, today's broadcast is brought to you by Team Dryer Realty. as a 10-3 run now for Windermere to open up this game. Fletcher one-on-one with Tavion Jones. As to my left, you can hear the Windermere match getting into the rhythmic claps. Down low, swing it out, and another good defensive stand for Windermere. DeBose snagging that ball. Windermere will set up at the other end, holding the 10-3 lead. .356 first quarter as Coach Grizik now standing almost in front of our scorers table, about 5 feet from the end of his bench, barking out the orders. His son and top assistant, Trey, right behind him. In the meantime, the assault continues. Jalen DeBose draining the rain from the left wing. 13-3. Coach Huff seen enough. He calls the timeout. 3:44 remaining. Windermere comes out on fire, representing the Metro Conference, who trail 9-8. This is the Varsity Sports Network. 13-3 lead by the Windermere Wolverines. They've come out on fire from the field, draining 3 3-pointers. And now Windermere Prep begins the drive to get back in, cut that lead down. That starts with Chandler Watts at the line, the 6'5" junior, shooting forward. Of course, those rankings are the ESPN recruiting database. Pair of free throws for Watts, cuts the lead to 13-5. And at the other end, no basket. Got a foul before the basket. And Watts commits the foul. So 5 fouls already, a little past the halfway mark of the first period. 3 for Windermere, 2 for Windermere Prep. That'll be short. Watts rips down the rebound, leads the charge at the other end, and finger rolls in the deuce. 4 consecutive points now for Windermere Prep coming out of the break. 13-7. Torres retrieves the ball one-on-one against Atwal. This is a heavyweight matchup, folks. One of those games that was circled when the schedule came out. A pair of teams expected to make long runs into the playoffs. And the travel call. Of course, Coach Grizik, the Windermere Wolverines, known as a program builder. He started 2 programs at Olympia, and then Windermere took Olympia to the state final in 2009, and he took Windermere to the state semifinal in only its second year. He also took P.K. Younge to the state championship final as well, where he began his coaching career. Brian Huff, on the other end, took over a program with the state championship, and he has continued that success, leading him to multiple playoffs. 13-7 now. After a rough start for Windermere Prep, they look to be getting their basketball legs, scoring 4 points in a row. Opportunity to cut that lead even more. 2.5 in the first quarter. At the top of the key, that's Fletcher. Hands off to Williams, who stops, pops, and splashes the tray. 13-10 now. Come back the other way. Come high flying, quick pace action, starting off this game as expected. So Windermere dropped in 3 3-pointers to build a 13-3 lead. Now Windermere Prep has forced 3 turnovers in the last 4 possessions from Windermere. I'm Neil Fisher. Thank you again for joining us, spending a part of your holiday weekend with us here on Varsity Sports Network. As the turnover, Windermere finds again the quick pass, but the rejection. Rass Jr. slamming that ball against the board, and a jump ball, and the Windermere Prep bench is excited. They jumped up immediately as Coach Grizik, the Windermere coach, called the timeout. So Windermere Prep now on a 7-0 lead. They cut the lead to 13-10. 1:58 remaining. This is the 2022 Metro versus Florida Challenge from Apopka High School. And welcome back to the 2022 Metro versus Florida Challenge from Apopka High School, Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium. A quick start. It's been a heavyweight matchup so far, and just like a heavyweight matchup, both these teams, Windermere with the 13-10 lead over Windermere Prep, a crosstown rivalry. These teams have taken their turns with a flurry of punches. Windermere taking a 13-3 lead. Windermere Prep answering on a 7-0 run. Currently still going on as we drop to 1.5 minutes in the first quarter. The Lino fadeaway, no dice for Fletcher, tracked down in the corner by Atwal. And now Windermere will come back looking to break that 7-0 streak. And they do. The great pass. Torres to Dorcius, the St. Thomas signee. That puts the lead back at 15-10. The Metro Conference trailing 9-8. And Windermere Prep will retain possession. So if you're new to this event, it's based on the Big Ten versus ACC challenge, the SEC versus Big 12 challenge. As 10 feet, it's a nice soft stroke from number 3, Aiden Fletcher, cuts the lead to 15-12. In each game, a member of the Metro Conference takes on a non-member, a.k.a. the Florida contingency, as the slash through the lane. That's Tavion Jones. He then tried to pass it, but the foul first. 3 team fouls on both teams now. At the end of 28 games, we will tally up the victories and see which side wins more, Metro or Florida. Every school in Orange County Public High School is the leaning attempt by Day does not find rim, and Windermere Prep will go back to work with an opportunity to tie this game if they hit a 3. Every public school, every public high school in Orange County is a member of the Metro Conference. If you open up, once the school opens up, you become a member. There's no application process or voting like you get in college among the conferences. And now seeing some scramble here, seeing how that quick pace can really throw some people's timings off. So again, a 15-12 lead for Windermere at the end of the first quarter. It was very much a heavyweight battle, both teams taking their turn. Windermere opening up a 13-3 lead, and then a 9-3 run by Windermere Prep to cut that lead to 3. We'll be back with the start of the second quarter in the 2022 Metro Conference versus Florida Challenge dedicated to Earl Graham. And we begin the second quarter. What has been a heavyweight matchup between these two crosstown Windermere rivals. When all was said and done at the end of the first quarter, it's 15-12. Windermere with the lead over the Windermere Prep. This is the fourth, or if you prefer, the middle game of 7 being played on the third day of the 2022 Earl Graham Metro versus Florida Challenge. And sliding through that lane and dropping in the deuce off the bank, Terrence Drain, lead back up to 17-12 for Windermere. Windermere in the white jerseys, Windermere Prep in the red jerseys. Back and forth we go. Windermere Prep yet to lead, but they've steadied the ship after falling behind by 10 early. Action coming from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. And once again, thank you for joining us. That'll cut the lead to 17-12. Score remains 17-12. Short. Ball rattles around, picked up by Bass Jr. And is he going to take it himself? No. And so, first time today we've actually had a half-court set, a deliberate half-court set. Ball wedged away by Torres. Windermere on the run. At the other end, the 6-foot bunny score the deuce. For Isaiah Dorcius, the St. Thomas signee, 19-14. At the other end, the whistle. And a shooting foul. Charlie or Torres committing that foul. 4 team fouls now on Windermere, even with the 5-point lead. Okay, and actually that's a non-shooting foul. So the refs rule he was not in the act of shooting. He was in the air but not shooting. And the defense shows up again for Windermere, in particular Jalen DeBose, forcing Windermere to step on the court and then out of bounds. 6:24 before halftime. I'm Neil Fisher. Bobby Latmore handling our directing duties. And today's broadcast is brought to you by Team Dyer Reality. Windermere gets it over half court despite the trap. But they will not be able to get a shot up. Quick hands, and at the other end, Aiden Fletcher flows in the layup, and that got Windermere Prep excited. You can hear the fans rise in attention as the lead now down 19-16. Opportunity to further cut it down for Windermere Prep. And again, two schools that like to get up and down the court. They do not like half-court sets, and you're seeing that here. Athleticism, the name of the game for these two teams. Foul called on Mason Williams. Inbound to Jones. Quick pass at the free throw line to DeBose, who strokes in the deuce. Lead back up to 21-16. Windermere scoring 6 of the 10 points in the second quarter as we approach 5 minutes. And more contact, another good defense, 2 consecutive possessions with a turnover. And this time a foul. Charlie Torres drawing the foul. So Windermere will inbound. They have led throughout. They scored the first 4 points and had a 13-3 lead. Windermere Prep cutting that down to 1 possession, and the score will remain at 2. The lead will remain at 2. So certainly you can feel the atmosphere of this arena, Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium, picking up here. To quote John Ross, a.k.a. JR, if you're a wrestling fan, business is picking up. And there's an example of on the floor. Chandler Watts committing the offensive charge. But the fans have certainly, the environment among the fans has certainly picked up. Much more intensive atmosphere than any other time today, as we're only a few minutes away from the sun starting to descend here on the northwest side of Apopka. Both these teams have lived up to the expectation through the first quarter and a half, not only in terms of the quality of play, but the energy and the intensity. Certainly picking up a couple of levels compared to the other games. No dice for Jones. gets his own rebound, tracks it down, but can't do anything on it. The defense holding tight for Windermere Prep and creating the turnover. 21-16 lead for Windermere, representing the Metro Conference. Windermere Prep representing the Florida contingency. Windermere Prep crosses midcourt. Huan going one-on-one with Drain, and this time Drain wins. So Windermere Prep has played some good defense, but at this point, Windermere has just simply been better, creating more turnovers. Neither team has really done particularly well, not a high percentage in terms of converting turnovers into points, as the tray is launched and splash from Dorcias. Puts the lead at 24-16, but Windermere Prep has done a better job at getting turnovers. There's another one by Jones, who makes the withdrawal from the bank, +1. 26-16, back to the largest lead for Windermere at 10 points. And a timeout called by Brian Hoff. Windermere Prep taking some more punches now from Windermere and getting that lead back up to 10, 26-16, the 2022 Metro versus Florida Challenge, dedicated to Earl Graham on the Varsity Sports Network. Windermere with the 26-16 lead, 3:37 before halftime. The 2022 Metro Conference versus Florida Challenge from Apopka High School, Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium. And this is one of those games, folks, that when the schedule came out, everybody circled it. A crosstown rivalry, Windermere and Windermere Prep. And as Tavian Jones drops in the free throw, an 11-point lead now for the Wolverines. Windermere, largest of the game. It's been defense that has carried Windermere to that 11-point lead. Both these teams base their whole design and strategy on defense, as you would expect from two championship caliber teams. And they've done a good job, but Windermere Prep has been excellent. There they do give up the basket. Huan taking the pass, the 7'0" center freshman, dropping the deuce and drawing the foul. He'll go to the line, +1. Jalen DeBose with the foul. No dice on the free throw. Williams doing yeoman's work to bring that down. And it's going to turn out for the good for Windermere Prep. An unforced error for Windermere, 3:08 remaining. Of course, Windermere Prep under Mark Grisick, 6 years now. This is his 6th year. They have gone to the playoffs 4 straight years, reaching the state semifinal in only his 2nd season. Coach Grisick, known as a program builder, took over P.K. Young, took them to the state championship final, then started programs at Olympia in Windermere, took Olympia to the state championship final in 2009, and again took Windermere to the state semifinals, as that basket doesn't drop. And that was a spectacular play from Chandler Watts, trying to tip it up, got cut underneath and draws the foul. So that certainly was some skying done by Chandler Watts. I'm Neil Fisher. Thank you for joining us. And now we got a stoppage. And Coach Hoff, Windermere Prep coach, calls for the timeout. Watts will be at the line trying to cut that lead down. And today's broadcast is brought to you by Team Dyer Realty. And the battle rages on as Windermere Prep now looking to up that lead. It's 11-point lead, their largest of the game. And that foul committed by Shiva Atwal. So mentioned it throughout today's action. This is the fourth game of 7, the middle game. Of course, Scott Williams, the man who created this event. Long range, no dice, can't dial it up. Windermere doing some offensive rebounding. That's Jones at the top of the key, one-on-one with Watts. He launches. This will be short, clicks off that rim. Grabbing that rebound is Drain. He can't get the foul up either. Ball remains in Windermere's hand, doing some yeoman's work on the offensive end. Does not score there, but if you're Coach Grizzick, you got to like getting 3 rebounds. At the other end, credit the basket to Chandler Watts. He goes coast to coast and floats in the deuce. 2 minutes remaining, 27-20 now. Another turnover, quick pace, Windermere Prep. They pick up the loose ball. Oh, slides off the rim. And tracked down by Drain. And Coach Grizzick did not like that series. He calls a timeout and wants to talk to his team. Again, today's broadcast is brought to you by Team Dyer Realty. And today, 28 in total. This is the third day from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. Thank you for joining us. And today's broadcast brought to you by Team Dyer Realty. And of course, this is one of those games that when the schedule came out, when Coach Williams released it, you circled this game. Not only is it an intercity rivalry, both these teams, of course, from Windermere Prep, but these teams with state championship pedigrees, and they certainly have lived up to that reputation today. Ball down low, score the deuce. The withdrawal by Cole White off the pass, a sweet pass, +1 foul on Shiva Atwal. That'll be the 8th on Windermere Prep. They'll be and Windermere will be in bonus the rest of the way. Windermere scoring the first 4 points, building a 13-3 lead. Windermere Prep answering with a 7-0 run. Well, there's some elbowing. Refs, no foul though. And now the loose ball picked up by Huan. And he'll take the first shot. 2 other shots refuse to foul. Windermere crowding that board underneath. And at the other end, Windermere Prep getting back. And what appeared to be a blocked shot, that's going to be a foul as well as a technical. So quick action for Windermere. Both these teams like to get up and down the court. They're 2 of the faster paces. But Windermere Prep doing a real good job of choosing its spot. There certainly was a spot where you want to run up and down. Doesn't matter really where you get the shot. You just want to get that shot off. And you see why. It was a foul. And then, of course, Brian Hoff, disagreeing vehemently, draws the technical. Okay. And actually, excuse me, the technical foul is not on Coach Hoff. It's actually on who was the technical on? Okay, so the technical was on you say 10? 12. Oh, okay. Zeri Yu. Okay. In the personal foul, which started the whole sequence of events. Oh, excuse me. It was a technical foul on Windermere. That's Cole White, number 12. So again, a series of events, just like this game, just as a reputation for both these teams. A lot of action going on, very intense. up and down the court. And when all's said and done, it's a 30-20 lead for Windermere in this crosstown rivalry. So the Metro Conference trailing 9-8. Auburndale winning the last game against Olympia, dominating victory. Windermere looking to even the score at 9-all. Clinks off the front of the rim, 1 minute left. Some offensive action, Windex work by Windermere Prep. They'll reset with Shiva Atwal at the top of the key. Now passes it over to Fletcher, the 5'11" senior point guard. Will set up, guarded one-on-one by Jones. They go extended right. So the Metro versus Florida Challenge, every school, public high school in Orange County is a member of the Metro Conference. The swipe, the steal, the attack, score the withdrawal from the bank, +1. Dorcius, Isaiah Torcius, the St. Thomas commit, making the basket after the turnover. And every game, 28 in total, matches a member of the Metro Conference against a non-member, a.k.a. the Florida Contingency, at the end of 28 games. Tomorrow, the last day, we add up the totals and see who has the most wins. Going into this series, this is the 12th annual. The Metro Conference had a 121-97 advantage, winning the first 4 events. The Florida Contingency won the next 2, and then 3 in a row by the Metro Conference. The Florida Contingency has won the last 2. Of course, there was no event in 2020. Aaron pass picked up by Day. He rambles to the basket, kicks out to Day, who drains the rain. As we get to the end of the first quarter, 36-21 lead. Windermere continues to maintain a double-digit lead. 5 seconds, got to go if you're Watts. Stop, pops, and drops to bring the first half to an end. Great play by Watts. Prep representing the Florida Contingency. A 36-23 lead. It's been defense, defense, defense. Windermere Prep has played good defense so far, but Windermere has been even better, a couple of levels higher, to take that 13-point lead. And today's broadcast is brought to you by Team Dyer Realty. So this has been very much like a heavyweight battle, heavyweight matchup in boxing, as that's Sinan Huan, the 7-foot freshman center, at the line. He'll cut the lead now to 36-24. Both these teams have taken their turns throwing punches. Windermere has 2 flurry of punches compared to Windermere Prep. They came out, took a 13-3 lead, and then a 7-0 run by Windermere Prep brought that lead back down to 1 possession. And 7-0 run, though, by Windermere in the second quarter got that lead back up to double digits. Now 39-25 as we move into this third quarter. So Windermere Prep goes back to work, trailing by 14. Your leading scorers for Windermere, number 1, Chalier Torres. As that bucket does not drop, and Windermere on the run. There's Dorcius, kicks it out to DeBose. They play roundabout on that right side. It'll be a jump ball, possession arrow to Windermere. So 15 for Chalier Torres, and 13 dropped by Jalen DeBose. That's 28, so more than half, actually about 2/3, probably even 3/4 of the points scored. 3/4 of the points scored by those two. Windermere Prep has been led by Chandler Watts with 10 points. Scored another couple of bucket points. Lead back up to 16 now at 41-25. Watts launches, nothing but the backboard, can't hit the rim, and stoking down that right sideline is Jalen DeBose. He'll pick up the rebound in the foul. Huan committing the foul. Of course, Windermere, one of 6 teams playing 2 games in this tournament. They played on the opening day Tuesday and dropped the tray. Biggest lead of the game now, 44-25. It's a repeat of the first half. Windermere coming out, throwing the haymakers, and they're going to throw another one here with that turnover. Windermere Prep gets the block, but that certainly, though, is in the back of their mind. Even though Windermere didn't score, that's still one less opportunity for Windermere Prep to score. Got some high-flying action. That was Mason Williams trying to grab that air ball, and he gets a foul for his troubles. He went over the back. 2 minutes into the third quarter, 19-point lead for Windermere, representing the Metro Conference. Windermere Prep representing the Florida contingency. So Windermere with that 19-point lead, kicks it out to Dorcius, who strokes the tray. 47-25, 22-point lead, 5.5 in the third quarter. It has been all Windermere. They have come out on fire to start the second half, just like they did in the first half. Defense has been the catalyst. 4 turnovers. Make that 5. Windermere using those sidelines as their friend. Trapping Windermere Prep down that right sideline, not giving them any room to operate. Thank you for joining us. This is the 4th of 7 games being played from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. The scoop and the soft roll. Iron Kind to Desorius as the lead continues to grow. And now with that 24-point lead, certainly not what anybody expected. It was supposed to be a close, tight, nip-and-tuck affair throughout as Watts slides, hammers through that lane, and the refs say you made contact. Offensive charge. So Windermere played on Tuesday at 6:45 against Slam, that sports leadership and management out of Tampa. They won that game, and now they look like they're on their way to winning both their games in this event. Dorcius lines up, no dice, clanks off the rim, tracked down in the corner by Aiden Fletcher, and certainly the energy has picked up. It was pretty high to begin with in that first half by Windermere, but it's picked up in the second half. Bass Jr. strokes the tray, trying to slow down that Windermere assault. Now out of the corner, and a rare mistake in this game, an unforced error. Torres trying to move with the ball before he caught it. So during that run, Trey Grizzick, of course Coach Grizzick's son, who played for Coach Grizzick at Olympia, as the ball's launched. No dice. Williams unable to drop the deuce. Contact, and Jones hitting the deck. Trey Grizzick rather excited. He's been on his feet for most of this third quarter, urging his troops on, right behind his dad and coach. About 250 fans in attendance, the highest we've had for any of the games during this event. Of course, this event now in its 12th season, started in 2009 at Wekiva. Coach Scott Williams, a state championship coach. We'll talk more about him tomorrow as Apopka plays. rejected, picked up, and now picked up a second time by Bass Jr. He'll lead the charge going 1-on-2, and nothing doing. It'll remain with Windermere Prep, trying to get back into this game. 19-point lead, 21-point lead. Windermere coming out on fire, outscoring Windermere Prep by a 12-4 count. They've now opened up a 24-point lead. They scored the first 4 points and extended that lead to 13-3, and they have led throughout. Getting back to Scott Williams, he was the coach at Wekiva, opening up that program. Needed a signature event, came up with this idea based on the ACC versus Big Ten and the Big 12 versus SEC challenge in college. As Windermere kicks that ball out, everybody rises, and they're rewarded. Torres draining the rain. And again, Coach Krizik, Dre, letting it be known his team is draining those trays. And of course, he's about 3 feet to my left. Certainly showing the fist lever pump. As Windermere has just upped the defense. Of course, in that first half, really summed it up by saying defense is the name of the game. Windermere Prep playing above average defense, but Windermere even better. And now it's about 5 levels, 5-6 levels, and there you see why. The defense creating the turnover, the quick pass out to Torres, who drops in the soft deuce. Perfectly lined, perfectly run transition by Windermere. And that brings the lead to 26 points. And Coach Hoff has seen enough. 2:34 remaining. Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium. And Windermere has taken what was a comfortable 12-point lead into a rout. Now a 26-point lead at 54-28. Of course, still 14 and a half minutes left. But certainly Windermere Prep is going to have to change its fortunes quickly. They've trailed the whole game, falling behind 13-3. Windermere representing the Metro Conference. Windermere Prep representing the Florida contingency. As one of the few down spots for Windermere today, not being able to hit both those free throws, and the defense continues to assault Windermere Prep. Jump ball. Possession era will remain with Windermere Prep, but of course that slows Windermere Prep up, that stoppage, as well as just makes it so much harder to get into any timing and rhythm. Windermere Prep did go on a 7-0 run about midway through the first quarter. They fell behind 13-3, but other than that 4 minutes or so, it has been all Windermere. What was supposed to be a nip-and-tuck affair throughout. Both these teams championship caliber. Of course, Mark Grisick, who you see there with the towel, he's the coach of Windermere. A 3-time state championship finalist. Has not been able to win the state championship yet, but has gone to 3 finals and multiple state Final Fours. He's known as a program builder. Began his career at P.K. Yonge. Of course, that school was an established school, but took him from a team that had a below-average season. They've always been a good school, then went through about a 2-year period where they were 500. He took over and took them to the state championship quickly. Then he took over the Olympia Windermere programs, took Olympia to the state championship final in 2009, and only the second year at Windermere took them to the state semifinal. On the other hand, Windermere Prep, the 2013 Class 3A state champion, Brian Hoff now in his 5th year, and they've been a playoff qualifier since winning that state championship. And actually, excuse me, it was 2016 that Windermere Prep won its state championship. Score the deuce for Watts. Watts ranked number 12 in the state of Florida. That's the ESPN recruiting services. And so now the pace has slowed down at least a little bit. Still a 24-point lead for Windermere. And now that'll be 22. As Shiva Atwal drops in the deuce. 1:15 remaining in the third quarter. And Windermere looking to tie the series at 9-all between the Metro Conference and Florida Challenge. Kicking out to the top. That's Torres, a nice soft touch. Does not drop though. He comes in and shows he can handle the rock inside as well as outside, making the withdrawal from the bank and drawing the foul. So that'll put the lead back at 56-32 with 58 seconds remaining. And Torres will go back to the line. Torres over 20 for the day. Of course, him and DeBose scored about 75% of the points in the first half, and nothing's really changed in the second half. Credit to the teammates, though. They're not scoring the points, but they're putting Torres and DeBose in positions where they can score, and they have torched that Windermere Prep defense. So talking about the history of this event, started in 2009 at Wekiva High School. It's the brainchild of Scott Williams. Scott Williams opening the program at Wekiva. Of course, Scott Williams, a state championship coach, winning that championship in 1997 with Mount Dora, Class 4A. We talked about Coach Grizik, the Windermere coach, being a program builder. Scott Williams is known for the same. He coached at Mount Dora, and like I just said, won the state championship there, taking a team that had several under 500 seasons, turning them into a state championship. Then he went to Lake Region, got his team to multiple regional finals. That's the round of 8. Came to Wekiva, got them into the playoffs in the third year, and now, of course, he's the coach at Apopka, going to the playoffs 7 out of his 9 seasons. That'll bring the third quarter to an end with a 56-34 score. Windermere really shifting into 6th gear. So as we begin this fourth and final quarter, Windermere holding the comfortable 56-34 lead. Very much that third quarter started like the first. Windermere Prep just coming out on fire, shooting over 75% from the field. They started that first quarter and the game with a 13-3 lead. They started the third quarter with a 12-2 run, outscoring Windermere Prep 21-9. And it's been Torres and DeBose doing most of the scoring, but they've been helped tremendously by their teammates, just putting in one position after another. And, of course, defense predicating those easy looks at the basket. That's Watts, and he draws the contact. DeBose committing the foul. So before we went to the break, talked about this really not only being a signature event when it started with Coach Williams being the head coach at Wekiva. Now, of course, it's a signature event for Apopka, but it's also an opportunity created with the intention to show the high quality of play that the Central Florida teams that exist here in Central Florida. 58-36, both teams trading a couple of points. 12 state championships won by the Metro Conference teams in the Metro Conference. Winter Park with 3 of them, Edgewater and Boone with 2 each. And then one each for Apopka, Dr. Phillips, Evans, Jones, and Oak Ridge. Of course, the Florida contingency, as you would expect, has far more because there are more teams. They have 32. 15 of those have been won by Polk County schools. And, of course, the phenomenal run over at 436 in the East-West Expressway, the home of the Orlando Christian Prep Warriors. They've won 10 since 2008. So Central Florida is certainly making its case, but Polk County as well can make a case as well with their 15 championships. And I think most people in the state of Florida would agree those are your 1 and 1A regions. No audio? Okay, there were. So a 60-38 lead for Windermere. Windermere has dominated this game except for about a 4-minute period at the end of the first quarter. Watts lowers the shoulder, air ball, scooped out of the air by Jones. Now going 1-on-2, crosses midcourt. And that'll lead to the interception by Brass Jr., and he just as quickly gives the ball over, and it's Jones redeeming himself. And now another turnover, so 3 consecutive turnovers. Of course, if you're Windermere, Coach Grizzick does not like that. No coach likes turnovers and sloppy ball handling. But as far as tonight's game, you can afford to make a couple of turnovers with the 20-plus lead. That's Baston, Cameron Baston, the 6'2" junior forward, drawing the foul. 5:47 remaining, both teams in bonus. As Baston steps to the line. Thank you for spending a part of your holiday weekend with us on Varsity Sports Network. We are live from Joe A. Sterling Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. I'm Neil Fisher. Hey, what's Rod's last name? Bobby, what's Rod's last name? Huh? Rob? Huh? So also handling our director duties is Bobby Latmore, and handling our camera duties is Rob Geller. A thank you to them. Of course, what I'm telling you about makes no sense unless we have the video aspects being handled. And count the swish. Fletcher, a nice set piece, inbounding the ball. Just as quickly, though, Windermere gets down in the easy deuce, going bank for Dorcius. So the Windermere Prep defense falls asleep. And that'll keep the lead at 20 now. Still a comfortable lead for Windermere as we head into the last 5 minutes of this 18th game, 28 in total, making up the 2022 Metro versus Florida Challenge, the largest ever. And an opportunity to get the lead back over 20 for Windermere after the steal. And they do just that, making the withdrawal from the bank. Dorcius slashes through the lane after catching the ball and then draws the foul. So 6 teams from the Metro Conference playing 2 games this weekend, Windermere being one of them. You also have Lake Nona, Dr. Phillips, Winter Park, Lake Buena Vista, who played earlier today, and of course Apopka, since they're the host school. At the other end, no basket. The offensive charge as the defense continues to show up for Windermere. Excuse me, actually that is a foul. It will be +1. So Watts goes to the line. Opportunity to exchange the old-fashioned three-point play. Coming up next, The game that you circled when the schedule came out, that's Evans versus Oviedo. Evans, a state champion representing the Metro Conference. Oviedo, a three-time state champion representing the Florida contingency. Of course, both schools has great interior passing. Drain winds up with the ball and makes the withdrawal. Both those teams, Evans and Oviedo, always expected to not just qualify for the playoffs, but to make long runs into the playoffs. Offensive charge as the lead remains at 22. And a timeout. Or no timeout, excuse me. It's a stoppage, but no timeout. And it's a stoppage because Chandler Watts has fouled out of the game, 5 fouls. And, of course, he comes over to the Grizzlies. The entire coaching staff gives him a hug and gets congratulations on an A-plus effort. Remember, most of these players, your high-level players, players who are looking at going to D1 schools, know most of these coaches. They play for them during the off season. These coaches watch these players. They watch their development as well. So there's a lot of camaraderie when the game comes to an end. And, of course, this is also a cross-city rivalry, crosstown rivalry, Windermere Prep. Obviously, the name stated. So they also add that these players and these coaches pretty much grew up together, not only because of basketball, but because of geography. And now Mason Williams will become the second Windermere Prep player to follow out today. He'll retire with 4:11 remaining as Drain continues at the line. Lead up to 22 now. So, of course, this should come as no shock, given the way that they've taken out Windermere Prep with a 22-point lead. Windermere comes in Class 7A, ranked number 8 in the SourceHoops.com rankings. And they certainly have shown every bit of that, not only today, but also in their first outing that was Tuesday against Sports Leadership and Management out of Tampa. And drain the rain. The emphasis, the exclamation point, a 25-point lead. The biggest of the game now for Windermere. You could feel not only the bench, the Windermere bench rising, but the Windermere faithful sitting across our scorers table, our broadcasting booth, and the clapping, the ooh, as soon as the ball hit the net. Windermere now showing off the quick run into the corner. That's going to be short from Jones. So Windermere Prep dodging the bullet there. Of course, not really in terms of the outcome, but could have been an even bigger reaction from the Windermere faithful. And they'll go to work with 3 minutes remaining. Of course, this game long decided with that 20-plus point lead. Windermere leading throughout. They took a 13-3 lead, draining 3 three-pointers during that run, all 3 of them coming after turnovers. But Windermere Prep now trying to build some momentum, some stability and solidness heading into the season. Of course, for Windermere, getting off the schneid, so to speak. That's Chris Berman's terminology. Obviously, ranked number 8, they're going to have a lot of victories. 20-win season should not be a problem, but certainly you want to at least get that first victory out of the way. In their case, it's actually the first 2 victories. With Jalen DeBose at the line. DeBose sinks to second, and that puts the lead at 26, the largest of the game for Windermere. So the 1-on-2 and the whistle. That was Fletcher making the pass, but of course the foul before the pass. And now Windermere is looking to run out that clock, get out of here without any injuries. They've led throughout. Mentioned Oviedo, Evans taking on Oviedo the next game. And now as Windermere looks up that lead, they won't do it that time. A transition for Windermere Prep, which has been non-existent in the second half. Oviedo coming out behind us. They'll settle into their position on the far bench on the right side of the scorers table in our broadcasting booth. In the meantime, the clock continues to tick. Dorcius trying to line up, can't get the ball to drop. Windermere with the offensive rebound. And again, no dice. A third opportunity, and finally, Windermere Prep comes away with the rebound. At the other end, the long pass and the floating deuce from Batson. As we get a timeout from Coach Grisick. As Coach Grisick calls off the Dogs. He's going to put in his non-starters, 1:29 remaining. This is the 2022 Metro vs. Florida Challenge from Joe A. Stirring Gymnasium on the campus of Apopka High School. So we will be tied at 9-all. For those of you new, first of all, thank you for joining us, and we hope you stick around. We hope you are as excited about this event as we are bringing it to you. And thank you for spending a part of your holiday weekend. Of course, there are many, many choices. We got football, basketball as well, and of course, World Cup this year going on. So again, thank you. So each public high school in Orange County is a member of the Metro Conference. And unlike college, conference realignment, you don't need to get invited. You don't need a president's vote or anything like that. You just simply open your doors and you're automatically a member of the Metro Conference. There are 22 teams in total. And in each of these games, a member of the Metro Conference takes on a non-member known as the Florida Contingency. And after 28, we will add up the totals on each side and see who comes out with the most. All three of you? Okay. So stick around. 1:10 left. We will have one last piece of business as far as Game 18, and that's the decision and presentation of the Earl Graham Most Valuable Player Award. We'll explain a little bit more during that, but Coach Graham was an assistant coach for over 40 years. Unfortunately, he passed away. It'll be 2 years in January due to COVID. Just really a great coach. He was the kind of coach who did all the behind-the-scenes work. Not only working with players, he would often, pretty much 5 days a week, show up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, open up the gym to work with the players before classes, before sunrise. But he also helped out with the organizational and logistical aspects that every head coach needs. And quite frankly, no team or head coach is successful without that type of coach. But even more so, he used basketball as the vehicle to be a great mentor and just teach life lessons, and thousands of young men and even women, were better, were really set up to lead productive lives because of Coach Graham's work and effort. So we'll award the MVP in his honor when we get done with this game, the last minute. Hey, hey, can you ask him who the leading scorer is? Can you just find out who the leading scorer is? It's either two.
11 or
It's either one or two. Yeah. No. So the last 32 seconds. How many points does he have? That's why I was saying go. So 24 seconds remaining, a 76-53 lead for Windermere. We'll see if Windermere Prep wants to try to at least get a couple more points here. Go out scoring the last point. 26 for 2. At the other end, couldn't get the exclamation point. That certainly would have been sweet for Windermere to go out of here on that slam. But nonetheless, a dominating victory. This game will end with a 20-plus point margin. Windermere scoring the first, going out to a 13-3 lead, draining 3 3-point field goals during that run off